Good evening and welcome to our latest Elite FPL reactionary podcast, reacting to all the game week action from Gameweek23. And what a game week it has been this weekend. Some absolutely incredible matches and action and goals. Plenty for us to talk about. We're going to be looking at the results from today and yesterday, talking about our own teams, how we got on, and also talking about our Elite FPL mini league and our Torbay Elite mini league. So it's covering all the action there. And yeah, obviously, if you're in the chat, say hello. Tell us how you got on this weekend. How are we all tonight, chaps? I haven't even asked.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, hello.
Yes. So, some quite incredible games today. Obviously, we've just had a last gasp winner for Tottenham, 2-1 at Fulham. And earlier on today, we had Manchester City beating Huddersfield by 3-0. And Sane is looking very, very good option going forward. So, Steve, do you want to take us through the results from yesterday and just generally recap on? It's been quite a phenomenal game week, which not easy to say at this time of the day. So,
well, first off, I want to say thank you to Jason for doing his experimental live reaction to the second half of yesterday's 3 p.m. kickoffs. If you haven't seen it and you want to check it out and you want to pass it on back regarding everything, it's on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe to us, I'm sure it's there. If you haven't and you want to see it, by all means, just go on the channel. But yeah, so it all kicked off in that extraordinary game between Wolves and Leicester. We've probably even all forgotten about that now. 4-3, a Jota hat-trick. And I'm telling you now, Jota is somebody to look at, because I looked at his recent stat history. There's literally direct stats. And he has returned brilliantly. So before he got injured, so 3 games prior to him getting injured, he had 2 goals and an assist. He was then off for 5 games, come back, and he was playing against City the other day. And then he's, obviously this is his second match back and gets a hat-trick. He's 5.9 unless he rose last night. I tell you what, he is somebody to look at. Let's just leave it at that. Ryan Bennett, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Really annoyed me getting that goal.
He's got his 1 goal for the season.
1 goal for the season, and where was he? He was on my bench. Yeah, brilliant. Really infuriated about that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, overall, done a very good game. Bournemouth 2-0. Jason mentioned it yesterday on the live stream, which is Callum Wilson. People may be looking at him again. He's 6.5. Dan, David Brooks getting another assist.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, still looking good.
And then we move on to Liverpool, of course, the game where everybody captains Salah. Pretty much, predominantly most people who owned Salah would have captained him. And there we are, 2 goals there. Come through with 3 bonus as well. And I'm one of those new proud owners that captained him, but of course didn't really, because everybody did it, didn't really benefit me at all. But again, as Jason did last night, as he showed, Robertson getting that assist at the end really kind of helped. Well, obviously Robertson owners and people like Jason who don't own him coming along really well. Now on to, God, this was really annoying. And even I joined live during the chat, and United conceding that 1 goal and my 1 differential in Lindelof conceding. But ironically, we'll move on to in a minute. But my other differential actually kept a clean sheet in Kolasinac. But yes, 2-1 to United. Very disappointed that they conceded. But Pogba again. Goals at home.
The lowest run-up for a penalty I've ever seen in my life.
The keeper went the right way as well.
Yeah, it's close.
Rashford there getting 3 bonus points. Pogba getting the 1. Newcastle, I'm just surprised at the scoreline, 3-0. They've actually scored probably more goals in that match than they have for the predominant of the whole season there, but very good for not good for the relegation fighters like my team, Burnley, but, these things happen. Southampton winning 2-1. Sigurdsson for the Everton guys. Nothing for Richarlison again, and of course he went down last night.
He did, yeah.
Watford 0-0. Unbelievable. Apparently we dominated well, to be fair, I looked at the stats and the game looked pretty even. We had a goal ruled offside at the very last minute.
He even made some very good saves in that game. Heaton made some very good saves in that game. So
talk
it's
about the storming performance of my man Kiko Femenia, repaying all those 1-pointers for me.
Yeah. Then on to Arsenal's team winning. Dan's team, Arsenal winning 2-0. Of course, I even tweeted Kolasinac last night and just said, "Thanks for the clean sheet for my fantasy."
Never in doubt, as I predicted him.
Yeah, never in doubt. Yeah.
I think the clean sheet was in doubt.
Yes. Then on to today's game. City comfortable winners there, 3-0. Sterling, Sane, the main talking points there. But surprised that Sane didn't get 3, considering he got a goal and an assist.
Yeah, it was down to the dispossessions. He lost the ball a lot during the game.
All right, okay. And then, of course, Jason's just alluded to it. It was Spurs just finishing off the game there, winning 2-1. And I did hear Ryan Babel had a good game, apparently.
Yeah.
Dele Alli, now FPL Boona bought in Dele Alli on a -8. So he goes and scores there, of course. A lot of all these tip sites are saying that Dele Alli, when Kane's out the picture, he always does really, really well. And has so far kicked off straight away. And, of course, Llorente, the player that we all thought would... I thought, and two others thought would probably start, goes and scores an own goal. But, yeah, let's just... Jason, let's talk about your team.
Before we do that, I just want to say hello to everybody in chat, because we've got a lot of people in chat at the moment. And guys, it's really nice to see you. Nice to see you again before obviously we even load up, the stream. Really, you guys just chilling in our stream. So I just want to say hello to One Life Soccer TV. Hello. Jack Gleason's in chat as well. Jack, we're looking forward to having you on the show midweek. FPL Booner's in chat. Notorious Nerds in chat. We've got Alicio Amado. In's unlucky to not get any goals. Yeah, well, I personally sticking away from Danny Ings. I've not owned him the whole season, but he's a popular asset for a lot of people. But I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. I didn't see the highlights either, so maybe one of you guys can jump in on that. Vince Chapman in chat, and we'll go cracking on to the
breaking news, Jason. Breaking news, and I'm sorry to tell you this, Jack, but I think it looks like Paul Wickett, if he's in the chat, is going to overtake you and become the new number 1 in Elite FPL. I've just done the maths here, and it looks like Paul, this is including a -8, it looks like, and Jason will be able to do this later on, but Paul will end up on 79 points. Jack will end up on 68. Jack had a 5-point lead. Now, doing my maths here live, I think Paul's going to go top by 4 points. I think. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
So we'll break that later when Jason goes through the live.
Jack's acknowledged it. He said it's a hard pill to swallow. We've just had a subscriber. I don't know. I can't say the name, but we just had a subscriber. So thank you ever so much for subscribing. It just flashed up on my screen there. I didn't bring in Dele Alli, and I got in Sterling for Hazard and captained. Oh, Sterling wasn't wasn't. Oh, you captained Sterling though. Oh God, yeah, you did. So yeah, we'll go and talk about our teams and how they performed this game week, shall we? So, would you like me to kick off with my team?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so I spoke about it. I spoke about it yesterday in the live stream, and guys, it was my first time on the 3 p.m. kickoffs, and it's a lot of information. Like I had Jeff Stelling on Sky Sports in my ear at the same time. Can I just add, Jason? It's like when I did my one, which was, as I keep banging on about, I was just sat in a room just staring at a screen. Yeah.
I basically had nothing to cover because nobody wanted to score a goal. It comes to you when you had the whole layout up and you had about 30 goals to cover. I felt so sorry for you, mate. It just kept bang, 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 bang constantly, and that was just in the Liverpool game.
It was. So, guys, I had a poll up on the video. Now, it was something we were experimenting with in terms of the last 15 minutes or so of the match days, 3 p.m. kickoffs on a Saturday, where we've got a lot of action going on. If you guys are interested in those sort of podcasts, let us know. Obviously, I was a little bit rusty with the first one, and also doing it on your own is a bit hard to keep the momentum going. So, let us know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and we can try and polish that up. And if you want to see them again. But my game week, I'm currently on 73 points, and as you can see, I've got Bennett coming in. Luckily for Trent Alexander-Arnold, which majority of us didn't think would play, but there was always that chance that he could have played, so I did put him on my team. So yeah, +6 from Ryan Bennett. I'm going to be getting bonus points as well.
I think you're going to get a total of, I worked it all out, you're going to end up on 81, Jason. That's okay. Everything.
That's I couldn't have asked for a better week. That's a solid game week. Fabianski in goal. I'm still happy to stick with Fabianski. What was that?
Sorry, I should just let you finish speaking.
Yeah. Just let me finish speaking. Here we go. Jason is the new Jeff Stelling. I know. Yeah, a long way to go before I can talk that long and that fast. Kiko Femenia, wow, I mean, I think I mentioned his name about 10 times in yesterday's podcast. So just still on cloud 9 over his performance, bonus 3. Steve-O's don't want to talk about him because he's rooted solidly to his bench. But Digne with the -1 now. A lot of people own Digne, and what an own goal! If you haven't seen it, what a finish! Absolute classy finish. Anthony Martial, one of the 3 United assets that I own that I'm considering in actually moving out, to be honest with you, because now Sanchez is chomping at the bit to come back into the team. I can see Martial's minutes being managed. Now, there is rumours of him signing a new contract in the next few days. Now, whether or not that's going to affect how much Ole's going to play him, who knows? But with the likes of Pogba and Rashford in the team, I feel like I've got enough United cover, and maybe I could look at downgrading either Martial or Richarlison, who is another one that I'm really annoyed about, because Richarlison, it's like every week I think, yeah, his fixtures are really good, and I think, right, I'm going to hold him for another week, see how he does. He blanks. So I'm like, it's like an endless cycle of blanks, and it's got to the point now where I'm losing value on him. And like you said a minute ago with Diego Jota, I mean, I could easily downgrade Richarlison to Jota and then use that money to upgrade a defender or something like that. So there's plenty of things going on in my head, but I'm not happy with Richarlison, and I'm not really happy with continuing to own Martial in my team. The rest of my team I'm really, really happy with. So it's just those 2. As we talked about, Salah, I think 85 to 87% of top 10k managers captain Salah, I think it was. It's not
that low.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of people captain Sterling. So yeah, pretty happy. 81 points after bonuses, pretty awesome. So yeah, we'll go down to your team now, Steve-O. Let me just quickly bring it up. How are you feeling, Steve-O?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question.
Go on, ask me a question.
What? I'm assuming it's because you didn't want to take a hit. Well, what was the thinking behind not selling Trent Alexander-Arnold and even playing him? Was that just a cheap way of just thinking, I may get some points off the bench, like I like to do sometimes? No. Knowing that a player can play and getting cheap points off? Or what's the thinking behind that?
Honestly, the thoughts were that... Obviously, the Klopp said in the press conference that Alexander-Arnold is going to be like a day by day. He almost hinted that there's a possibility of him being fit. Like, it sounds strange, but it happened earlier on in the season when Trent Alexander-Arnold was supposed to be injured, and he ended up starting the game. So it's one of those where I just figured, right, I got him in. He's a really good. I bought him in cheap. He's a great defender for Liverpool. I can't and obviously now with Milner being sent off as well, being suspended, it could really kind of work out well for me. So I didn't know that at the time, but I didn't want to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold for -4 when I had Bennett and Kiko that could have covered the points. So even if they'd have got 2 points, it would have worked out equal. So I needed them to have got more than 6 points really. So yeah, that was my thinking behind it, and purely didn't want to take the hit for a defender. And very rarely will I take a hit for a defender, to be honest, in general. So Stephen, your team.
So I brought in Pogba, Salah and Jimenez and got rid of Son, Felipe Anderson and Kane. I was just about to do the maths on it, but I'm going to be up by X amount of points, so quite a lot anyway. But yeah, I was a bit annoyed as you saw my reaction yesterday when I joined you, was just staring at my bench. Bennett and Kika Firmino on the total of 15 points or whatever it is. Slightly frustrating, but then the bonus of Kolasinac getting me a clean sheet against Chelsea, never expected that. Robertson, as you went with, got the assist at the end, and even a bonus point, I believe, as well. So it's the same old story, isn't it? Salah captain, Sterling getting me a goal today, considering what I was saying about his away performances versus the poorer teams away from home. Delivered today, and he's going to get me 2 bonus points. Fantastic. Aubameyang is the one. I'll talk to Dan. In fact, I'll ask him now. Aubameyang, what were your thoughts on him yesterday?
He had a brilliant chance within the first 5 minutes. Lacazette crossed it, whips it across the box, and he was basically, it was hard. It seemed harder to miss than to score, but he did like a sort of ninja kick as well. About 2 minutes later, nearly scored with that. So it was like from the ridiculous to the sublime, nearly. But second half, I mean, he was working hard and everything, running back, slide tackles and whatnot. A decent performance, but it's not really setting the world on fire. It seems more Lacazette seems to be more the focal point. So.
He was very Morata-esque, wasn't he? That game, like he was getting in all the right positions.
It's better than Morata.
No, he's better than Morata. I agree. I agree. He's better than Morata, but his performance was Morata-esque against Chelsea. Like he was getting in the perfect positions. He just that's like kind of back. What was the bicycle kick? It was like a ninja kick. It was like a ninja kick. Yeah, that was close. I'll give him that. But yeah, he should have got at least 1 goal that game.
So yeah, I just worked out my transfer, and I'm actually up by 37 points.
Okay.
Is hands in a minute.
Hello, Steve-O?
I don't know. This throws me out because I don't know if it's me that's bad or Steve-O.
No, it's not you. It's not you. I can see you. I think it's Steve-O. There we go.
And I'm really overjoyed and everything. And yeah, overall, can't complain. Although I do want to look at, before we go to Dan's team, I do look at Ben Towler, who is currently 3rd in our mini league at the moment. He wildcarded yesterday. Okay. And I looked at his team and I was like, Stones.
Yes. The defense that didn't play.
Yeah. Stone, Shaw not playing. Digne -1. He brought in Alisson, so he's doubling. Well, he's not even doubling up on Liverpool defence there. And looking at the Hudson-Odoi,
Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, he brought him
in. Probably. Yeah.
So,
was he drunk?
Who knows? But the point being, it as we keep saying, if you use too many chips, it just plays into the hands of the rivals. And I've already used... Dan, you've got all 4 left?
3 left, mate. Yeah.
Darren Mundy's got all his chips.
Is it Darren Mundy, is it? Right, okay. But yeah, just overall, looking at his wildcard team, I'm not that really impressed by it. Could be proven wrong when he ends up winning the Tour Heavy League, but not really impressed. So let's go on to Dan's team. You took a -4, and Dan, the big news is, did you beat my 37 points up on the deal? The answer is no, you didn't. So to you, I'm going to swear, but I beat you by 1 measly point. But you took a -8, so that actually, in reality, that worked out really well. So yeah. But wasn't that for Trent Alexander-Arnold when you missed out on the news? And you brought in Firmino of all people. So yeah, Dan, don't go for it, mate. Brilliant score, by the way. You're going to end up on 65 probably. That's including the -8.
It's not bad. It's a bit. No, it was good. I mean, it's funny what you were saying about people having Salah as captain. I mentioned in the last podcast that we did, the Roos brothers have been like, I've been sandwiched in this constant battle with them, back and forth. They both had Sterling as captain. So I was like, on Saturday morning when I saw this, I was like, that classic thing you say is like, what do they know that I don't know? But I was also like, I was a bit worried, but then I was also like, this is going to play into my hands, I reckon. But yeah, I had to get Salah in, and obviously with the injuries to Kane, Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, I was stressing though. I actually left it to Saturday morning, and Salah had gone up to 13.5, and I was like, oh no. And I was trying to jig my team around. I was going to take out Sterling, and I thought, no, don't take out Sterling. I was going to gamble on Llorente at one point. I was like, that's the sort of thing I would have done last season. I was like, no, look at Jimenez, look at the fixtures coming up, look at his form, look at his price, get him in. Firmino was an enabler, but I'm basically gambling on having a low, a budget defence, really. Wan-Bissaka, Firmino, maybe I can rotate those two. And ironically, it was, as Jay alluded to before, it was, there's that word, Digne letting me down with a -1 and a hilarious own goal from about 25 yards out. So, generally pretty pleased. Got my captain right. Rashford done well again. Got him in sort of quite early on. And Pogba as well, got him in last week. He's coming good as well. So, yeah, but it was just Richarlison. I was still... When you hold on to a player for so long, it sounds weird that you almost feel this attachment to them. And Richarlison, it's like, Richarlison, look at the fixtures coming up. But I was like, no, get Salah, get Jimenez. Firmino's enablers, fine. But, my goalkeeping situation, I mean, I always try to avoid the scores, but I was in the pub with Mr. Jewell yesterday afternoon. He was like, bloody hell, did you see the Wolves score 4-3? And I was like, right, okay, just tell me who scored. And he was like, Jota hat-trick. And I was like, I could not believe it. It was incredible. So,
well, it's funny you mentioned, Jason mentioned Jota, getting him in and everything. And I just instantly went to the transfer page just now. And you're in the same boat as me, Dan. I don't know if Jason is. But you're in the same boat as me, where you already own 3 Wolves players and their fixtures are absolutely fantastic. This isn't a bandwagon. This is not a bandwagon where I'm thinking, Jota's got a hat-trick here, let's all flame and jump on. Like I said, I looked at his most current stats as it stands right now, and he has done really, really well. He's been completely floating under the radar. This is the most recent stats. I'm not talking for the whole season. I'm talking over the last 8 or 9 game weeks. And as I bring him up here right now, I'm sure Jason may be able to bring it up on the screen. So all the way up to game week 14, which was Cardiff away, he had done absolutely nothing apart from getting a single assist. And then all of a sudden, in game week 15 against Chelsea of all teams, he got a goal. And then against Newcastle in game week 16, he got a goal and assist. Then against Bournemouth, he got an assist. And then all of a sudden, I'm assuming he got injured in this game because he only played 45 minutes, missed out on 4 game weeks. Like I said to you, I don't want to repeat myself, but I have to. Played against Man City, only 58 minutes just to settle him in. And then all of a sudden, he's playing against Leicester, gets a hat-trick. So actually, he's actually got virtually all his returns in the space of 5 game weeks. And if this was, I know we can't really do this, but if this was across, the whole season, it just seems like, maybe Dan, you may be able to let me know even more, or Jason, if you know more about this player, but maybe just a player that's found it difficult to adapt to the Premier League, and now all of a sudden he's found his groove, and it's, here I am. And I can't even bring him in because I've got 3 Wolves players. Dan's exactly the same.
Well, the thing is, obviously, it was a very popular pick at the beginning of pre-season, and obviously the early game weeks of the FPL. But the thing is, he was looking lively, but he was overshadowed by the likes of Jimenez and even Neves early on. As you know, looking lively doesn't necessarily give you FPL points. And I think, the injury, he's gone away. Before the injury, he had some really good game weeks. And he's come back from that injury now, like you said. And obviously, apart from the Man City game, which, he wasn't, it's Man City. We've only got that hat-trick against Leicester to really go on. So there's been a bit of a storm on Twitter regarding Jota at the moment about should we bring him in? Is he the next big FPL asset? Budget, absolutely amazing option. And I'm inclined to be a little bit cautious on that. But for his price, I mean, if you can afford to do the transfer, if you haven't got any other pressing issues to do, Richarlison down to Jota, or maybe a Felipe Anderson down to Jota, or maybe, in my case, Martial down to Jota, it can free up money to upgrade in other areas. So,
yeah.
Whereas I'm not necessarily saying jump on him now. You know, if you want to do the transfer and if you can afford to do the transfer, then do it. But if there's other areas in your team that needs to be sorted first, then you should prioritize that. But he's definitely looking like it. You know, he's definitely looking like a really viable. I mean, I've got Jimenez in as well. So for people who own Jimenez, do you want to double up on Jota and Jimenez? You know, and go with a double Wolves attack? I mean, technically triple Wolves, because people are still going to be owning Doherty and Bennett, and people like that. You know, some people even own Patricio. So yeah, that's my answer. What about you, Dan?
Well, he did very well in the Championship, obviously last season. So I think it was, like you said, early on pre-season, people were thinking maybe this is a player they can jump onto before people start buying him. But yeah, I had him in earlier in the season. I think there was a game away to West Ham, but he didn't really get. They won 2-0, but he didn't really get many returns. And I had him in for a few games, and I just thought this guy's a troll. So to be honest with you, I completely forgot about Jota. But
right.
I mean, it's funny you say I've got 3 Wolves players: Patricio, Doherty, and Jimenez. I mean, Doherty didn't even start yesterday, and I keep going on about this goalkeeping situation. And you say areas to address for me. It's got to be the goalkeeper situation. So there could be room to get Jota in there, but it's definitely, like Steve-O says, the fixtures coming up for Wolves are pretty damn good. So it's definitely one to consider. What are people saying in the chat about Jota?
People are saying people on about Llorente still. Notorious Nerd says Llorente looks slow and rusty and such worse than Lukaku. He's actually got a worse touch than Lukaku. And then what was it? Someone put something funny in the chat. Where is it? About someone I'd rather have my nan. That's Andy Salter. There we go. I'd rather have my nan in my squad than Llorente. She's only 4.3. I like that. But the main thing is, I think people are possibly looking at Jota. Vince Chapman's looking to do a Richarlison to Jota, so that's going to be a popular transfer. A player, Jack Gleason, at the pinnacle of FPL says, a player just after a hat-trick at 5.9 is too hard to ignore. If you can do Richarlison to Jota, I would do it, given the form and money in the bank it leaves you with. Absolutely. It's a good enabler to improve in other areas, especially likes of me who have actually sacrificed in defence in order to have a powerhouse in midfield. Yes. So, anything else in chat? The big question is who to pick as the third Liverpool asset. Have Salah, Robertson, and who else? Well, a lot of people went with Alisson and Vincent van Dijk, and some people even went with Firmino, and they did well this game week. What do you guys think? Do you think the days of tripling up on Liverpool's a thing?
Still got some great fixtures coming up. I mean, it's just like you say, when you get Salah in, it kind of the rest of your team, the balance kind of falls out. And for me, it's defensively. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's such a frustrating thing because he was obviously got him in at 5 million or whatever, and that was just like a brilliant, coverage for Liverpool on free kicks occasionally as well, attacking threat, and now he's injured, so that's really frustrating. But Firmino, he, just like we said before, he's a confident. What's so funny about that?
I just realised I realised I said Vincent instead of Virgil, and people are laughing at me.
Yeah,
Vincent van Dijk, new signing. New sign.
Yeah, sounds like a good player, mate. But no, I mean Firmino's a confidence player, and was he 9.1, 9.2 million? I think it is. So, 9.3, yeah. So potentially one to look at, but yeah, I don't know what you think, Steve-O.
He'll get double figures. He's already at 9 goals already, 5 assists. The previous 3 seasons that he's been in the Premier League, he's got double-digit scores in all goals scored. So last season he had 15, and the other 2 were 11 and 10. He's done really well for assists. I look at the live stats, as in like literally what's happening of recent times. Hat-trick against Arsenal, goal against Man City, goal against Crystal Palace. I think that with their defensive frailties at the moment, with certain players being out and whatnot, I think that Jason used the words of pressing matters. You know, if you can afford to do a downgrade or an upgrade to Firmino to treble up on Liverpool, why not? I actually agree with it. I think it's a very, very... In fact, I asked you again, Aubameyang and downgrading Aubameyang to Firmino, you know, it's... Although, admittedly...
I mean, we've obviously got this game up against United on Friday in the Cup. That's it. If he gets a couple of goals in that game, you know, smashes a few past De Gea, and then hopefully go on to Cardiff and get a hat-trick there, you know, he's still top player. But I know what you mean. It's like, I was thinking about Aguero as well, but he's still not really kicked right into gear. But I think for me, I mean, going off tangent a little bit, is to Sané over Sterling. I know we mentioned it before we went live. It's like I was thinking that earlier, the value of Sané and how, like Jason said, how involved he is and everything, how crucial he is to Man City at the moment compared to Sterling. It's worth considering switching.
Isn't it funny, Dan, or Jason, or people in the chat, how it was only last week when we were all saying Man City, they're a waste of space, get rid of their assets as quickly as possible. Now all of a sudden it's, who do we bring in? Salah or Sterling? It's why I hate that. One drives me up the wall.
But don't forget also, guys, it's very important to say, and I know a lot of people in chat already consider this, but don't go just jumping on transfers yet, because there's still some teams are playing 2 games between now and next game week. So just be careful. You know,
well, Man City aren't going to be playing full strength again.
Well,
they're not.
You say that
they're not through. They're not through yet. It's still a second leg to play. All to play for.
What, they got to try and not concede 10 goals?
I'll steal the joke from a well-known fantasy podcast, which is quite similar. Us 3 could play the game, just us 3 alone, and we'd still not lose 9-0.
Well, we'd go stand in the goal. All 3 of us stand in the goal. We got a question. We got a question from FPL Boone. Has asked all 3 of us. Thoughts on Mane for Liverpool? We've not mentioned Mane since game week 15, maybe.
Oh, I think less than that. I think game week. I'm looking at it now. Game week 5 against Tottenham. So he, in his first 4 game weeks, he had 3 double-digit scores. Then he went on a blank in 5. Then he got a double-digit against Cardiff, and then he just virtually blanked all the way through.
At one point, you were his biggest fan, weren't you? Remember?
I always thought that Mane may actually, you know, be able to just doing what Aguero has been doing this season with City, you know, just turning over points on a regular basis. But looking at it all here, not really, no. And I'm sorry, but I think there's just better options in the midfield slot to not use up with Mane, basically. That's just me. I don't know about you, Dan.
Sané over Mane, basically, is my quip of the podcast. I mean, like you said, Mane, obviously he got the goal yesterday, he got the goal against Arsenal, but he started the season like, you know, he's on fire and doing really well at the start. And then, like you said, he's kind of just tailed off, really. I mean, one to monitor, one to watch, but there's better value options in that midfield at the moment. We've mentioned Jota, we mentioned Sané, players really on form. I mean, that 4th goal yesterday, it was kind of a little bit while Palace were pushing up to try and get an equaliser. So, yeah, I'd watch him now, but I wouldn't get him in straight away.
So I've got a question for you guys. We've got people talking in chat as well, and I want to bring a player up that's not been talked about in the last few weeks. And I think we should talk about him, because I think a lot of people are wondering what to do with him, and that is Eden Hazard.
God.
What should people do with Eden Hazard if you own him?
The key thing with it is like yesterday, that it kind of played into our hands, just him playing as the false number 9. And I think he popped off a shot in the second half that went over the bar, but it wasn't really I don't think that's really his favoured position. And so the key thing for all of this is to look at how Higuain does. Obviously, when he should be arriving very soon. Maybe Hazard can start linking him with Higuain and get more assists. And I think a lot of the pressure is on Hazard. There was one point showing the replay where he was just blowing his cheeks out for what seemed like an eternity. And I think he's feeling that pressure. So it must be frustrating for Hazard owners. I mean, at home to Newcastle, getting an assist is almost, to me, that would almost feel like a disappointment, even though it's a return. So it's not a player that I've had great success with in FPL over the course of my FPL career. So I'm not mad on him. So what do you reckon, Steve?
I think it all depends. Again, it's that classic line, isn't it? If you have any more pressing matters. But if I was a Hazard owner, it's a question of who do you upgrade into. Well, there's only a few options there, which being obviously Sterling, Salah. But there are options which are below him, i.e. Pogba. Or if you really want to really drop rock down, someone like what Jason said in Jota. The only reason I'm saying Jota, people are thinking, are you obsessed with this guy? Like I said,
Jota is like he does remind me, his positioning and his movement. He does remind me of Hazard. I know people might laugh at that, but he's just demeanor on the pitch. Obviously, his skills aren't the same as Hazard's, but the way he kind of portrays himself on the field does remind me of like a budget Hazard, and I think a lot of people have referred to him as that. But yeah. Steve-O, I mean, he's been... This kind of makes me think now. Like, do you know earlier in the season when you were saying about Salah being worth the money? Do you know you were saying when he was only kind of getting the odd assist? Your words were value for money. Can we sort of get to the point now where we can say the same about Sterling? Because he's not mega appalling.
The thing is, Jason, is that with this game, we're not stupid. People that are watching this, let's be honest here, we're all hardcore fans of this game, and it really comes down to more the ownership at this point. So Sterling at the moment is okay. He's only owned by 10.9%.
Yeah, and I think Sane's owned by. I think I tweeted it out earlier on. Actually, I think 8% of the top 10k owns Sterling, and 33% of the top 10k owns Sane. So I think I'm missing I missed out on Sane's hauls the last couple of weeks, and obviously he's outscored Sterling in both weeks. But I'm actually, if it wasn't for a case of I've got other things like pressing matters to look at in my team, am I happy with Raheem Sterling in my team long term over, £2 million cheaper, almost, Sane, who seems to be playing in a more threatening role and scoring more?
If you had Hazard in your team and Sterling, or Hazard and Sane, I would happily do a double up possibly with the two, because these two players are pretty obvious that they're key to how Man City play, attack, whatever. They're key to the goal scoring.
That was the template back in November, wasn't it? Sterling, Sane.
Yeah. So I think actually, if going on, was it FPL Booney you said about Hazard asking the question about that? Yeah. So I would be tempted if you don't have Sane in your team, Hazard down to Sane would be absolutely perfect. It all depends on when Mendy's back, and I believe he's back in training now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, people are saying that in chat about rather have Mendy's going to be coming into people's teams again as soon as he returns to that starting 11. People will be jumping back on Mendy, definitely. Sorry,
I'll just interject. It could be the wild card. That Mendy would be one of the first names on the wild card when you actually put it into action. But yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, Sterling, I was very tempted to take him out yesterday because I could have, had a much higher value defender. But I was it's like I said, those returns he was getting earlier in the season. It's when sentiment comes into you think, he's going to go mad one game week and I'm going to miss out on a big haul. But at the moment, he's just ticking along, goal, assist, goal. But like you say, going back to value, it's not really justifying the outlay. I've got a really top-heavy midfield there, and I'm missing out on other areas of my team. So, Sterling needs to do something good against Newcastle.
I kind of just, inside myself, I kind of chuckled when you said about people getting in Mendy immediately with returns, and I was thinking, why? It's a lot of money and everything. But I just looked at everything, and pretty much, basically, every time he's played, he gets something. He gets some form of attacking returns. He's blanked basically on a couple of occasions. But what I was going to say,
but he
Jason,
has been out for quite a bit.
No, I know that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is the time that he has played, which is about 10 games this season, he's basically returned. But I was going to say, do you want to quickly look over the Elite FPL, the lads?
Yeah, definitely. Let's overlook what's been happening in the Elite FPL podcast league.
Unfortunately, we're going to drop down to second place, I'm afraid. But as of last night, Jack was 225th in the world. He took a -4. He got rid of Aubameyang, Son and Martial, brought in Rashford, Sterling and Pogba for a triple 8-pointer, basically. And he's up by 20 points. So clearly an excellent 8-pointer here. But Paul Wickett, down in second place, he also took an 8-point hit. His hits included Richarlison, Kane and Trent Alexander-Arnold out. Brought in Ali, Firmino and Robertson. That was a total of +14 overall. But because Paul's players obviously got more points, I'm looking at it now, looking at it here. Yeah, it looks like, hello, Ali's been flagged. What's going on here?
Yeah, I've just seen that. Let's have a look. The flag says...
hamstring injury.
Hamstring. 75%. I mean, I don't know what's actually going on there.
Maybe a fake one. But it looks like, Paul, if you're in the chat, I think Jason would have mentioned you if you were. You're going to take top spot, and I reckon you're going to end up at about what? You were 312 last night. So what? I mean, Jason, if you've got the live update lead there, but I reckon he'll be up in the...
I can give me a few moments. I can certainly have a look to see where he'll be. But yeah, amazing game week for Paul, and I'll go sort that out if you want to carry on talking about third place.
So Ryan Malone, I know he occasionally brings in his thoughts into the chat, and he's 917th in the world as of last night. 1,500 points exactly from last night. Had nobody playing today. 64 points. He took a 4-point hit. Let's have a look at who he got rid of. Let's just find out if it was a good move or a bad move. But it looks like he got rid of Chambers and Alexander-Arnold, and he did a U-Dan. He originally got rid of Chambers to bring in Alexander-Arnold, but then he got rid of Alexander-Arnold and brought in Doherty, who of course didn't start, got him 1 point, so he's minus. And this is a kick in the teeth, isn't it? If he hadn't done that transfer, he could have just played Bennett, he got him 6 points. So overall, he's about -9 or something all in total. But all the thoughts, Jason, in chat.
Yeah, so in chat we've got Davey FPL. Now Davey is flying high at the moment. I think he's in the top 1,000. He's doing really well. How Davey? How did your week go?
Is there anybody, Jason, that watches this not in the top 1,000 other than me and Dan? It's absolutely ludicrous.
That's why it's called the elite. We are the elite.
He was in the top. He was well in the top 1,000. I think he was a couple hundred or something. But I've just done my research, and it seems that Paul Wickett, after this game week, is going to go from his old rank of 282 to around 163 in the world, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. And good news, it looks like I'm possibly going to break into the top 1,000 as well. So that'll be awesome.
Brilliant.
Guys in chat saying just a hamstring injury, he'll be okay for game week 24. It looks like went off injured apparently. I didn't watch the end of the Fulham. I heard the result, and I had it on in the background, so to speak, and I was really upset about Harry Winks scoring, because as a United fan, I always want the teams above us to drop points.
And you predicted one as well.
Hey,
you predicted 1-1 as well in the podcast.
I did, I did predict a 1-1, and it was literally the last kick of the game, or almost towards the last kick of the game.
And just to let everybody know, Jason did come out on top with the score prediction this week. He got a couple of extra bonus points because he was kind of nearly there with the results. For example, today it ended 1-1, but only a goal in it. So yeah, he got that extra bonus point. And also in the Bournemouth West Ham game, you predicted 2-1 to Bournemouth. Obviously, it ended 2-0. So yeah, a couple of bonus points there, which took you to beating Dan. So it was 8 points to Jason. Dan got 7 points, and I only got 6. I'm afraid.
There we go. Yeah, so guys, if you've got anything else to say in chat, please let us know. Let us know what you feel about the podcast, guys. Make sure you give us feedback. We're on Instagram and Twitter. Anything else you want to cover this podcast, guys?
Well,
Yeah,
I will say this. I know it's not FPL relevant or whatever, but there's a big game coming on Friday, United Arsenal. Can you give me a score prediction for that? It kind of does affect FPL because, if Aubameyang does well or Martial does well, then they're looking the following game week to get them back in. What do you reckon? Just quickly. Put you right.
Well, you want me to predict United?
Old Trafford, isn't it?
Prediction? Huh?
Is it Old Trafford, yeah?
No, it's at the Emirates on Friday evening. It's on
Oh,
BBC
then-
One.
then-
BBC One are actually showing a big game.
I reckon you're going to win. I'm going to go with another Arsenal winner. I think they're going to stop Solskjaer's 7-game.
That would be so
I'm
sweet.
going to go with an open game, and let's go with an open 2-1 or 3-2 to Arsenal. That's what I think anyway.
Okay, yeah. Jason?
I think that United are going to win this game, and I think that this
coincidence.
I think people are still underestimating the good vibes and the morale that's spewing out of Old Trafford. Well, I know it's at the Emirates, but it doesn't matter. We can play on the moon and we'll win. Honestly, I think we're going to score more than Arsenal. I think there's going to be goals. I think De Gea is going to have another masterclass game. Aubameyang's going to be kept quiet. Hopefully not get injured, of course. I think it'll be a 2-1 win for United. Not biased in the slightest.
Dan, let's think who Dan may win, or is he going to go with a draw?
I'm not going to sit on the fence. I mean, United have got a really good record against us. It's one of our bogey teams, but
8-2.
It's about time we beat you. I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal. We will see. What are people in the chat saying? Any other thoughts?
Any thoughts before we close out?
Jack Gleason's thinking 8-2 to United.
Don't shut up about that. You're going on about 8-2.
Clement LaRue says, I did an early Ali transfer last night to prevent a price drop of Richarlison. Just great news. I don't think you need to worry about Ali, because obviously Spurs need everyone playing, and I don't think he's going to be out for game week 24. It's a long way away. 9 days between now and game week 24.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I don't think did an awful lot, did he, to sort of get people excited. I mean, I was considering Llorente at 5.6 yesterday. I was so close to getting him in. I thought, get ahead of the curve, as all the cool FPL kids say. But yeah, kind of glad that move didn't transpire. So
awesome.
Yeah,
I think we're pretty much there then.
Yes. So I mean, for our regular subscribers, regular viewers, you may have seen an amazing promotional video on our channel the other day, starring none other than Mr. Robinson with his cup of tea and his elite FPL cup of tea. So the deal with showing it there. So it does look good, actually. I'm looking forward to getting mine in the post. But basically the deal is, obviously we've got the elite FPL league. The code's up on the screen now. Basically the manager of the month for each month, they win a mug, and you can show it off to all your friends on Instagram, Snapchat, Bebo, MySpace, whatever social media platform you use. So as a prize to win, basically a cup to win every month, excuse the pun. So stay tuned for that. Connect with us on Twitter, because obviously you guys are telling us we need to be more active on Twitter. I know Steve-O's been doing loads of stuff on there. So at Elite FPL, you can stay tuned into us on there. Also Instagram as well. Do plenty of content on there. So connect with us on Instagram as well. Elite FPL there. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. Any other final thoughts, or was that a wrap?
That's it. Thank you ever so much.
All right. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And remember, subscribe, like, and comment. See you next time round.
Cheers, guys.